You are listening to Within Tolerance, a podcast for machinists by machinists. I'm your host, Dylan Jackson of Protein Machining, and this week I am very happy to welcome Curt of Filipowski. How's it going, Curt?
Oh, very good. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Thanks so much for joining me. I've been wanting to have you on for quite some time, so I really appreciate that we can make it work. And especially the last few weeks, we have both, one or the other, have been sick. So I'm glad we finally got it to work.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, we have a short window, but no, I very much appreciate it. Like I said, listen to it all the time. So yeah, it's cool to come chat.
Definitely. So for those who don't know who you are and what you do, let us know what your business is and what you do.
Sure. So yeah, I run a company called Confounded Machine, which is basically a company I just run out of my garage and I build pens. That's all I've been doing for the last, I think it was 2 years officially now that I've been doing it.
Congrats.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, thank you. So
very cool.
Yeah, it's
So, for those who haven't seen it, like I think there's some of the most beautiful pens on Instagram. Like you really, all your like ISOGrid stuff and your different anodizers and stuff are like really next level, I think, when it comes to pens in the EDC world. So, let us know like what makes your pens special.
Oh, I appreciate that. I appreciate it a ton. There's fantastic makers out there. And it's funny when I say this to people that, I make pens in my garage. They're like, oh, okay. Well, like, that's neat. So, but yeah, they're like fancier pens. They're titanium pens. They're not your standard Bic. Yeah, I don't, sorry, what was the question? I just totally spaced.
What makes your pens special? Like if somebody's looking for a pen, like how do you sell your pens to people? Or I mean, actually, I guess it kind of seems like you haven't really had to sell them. They kind of just, you have a following at this point. But what would you say makes your pen special?
I would say, the main thing is probably, they're decent. Like I put a lot of effort into there. I want to make something that is like going to outlast me. I want people to have pens forever. I don't want to release garbage, obviously. So, with anybody, you want to build something that's good. But I think the main thing is just a story. Like I kind of started this just as a hobby, and I've documented it all through like YouTube and then now through Instagram a lot more and just kind of various social medias. And I think the story is more like it captures people way more than the product. If the product is crappy, your story doesn't matter. But I think people buy the story a lot more than they buy the product, as long as, the product's also good.
Right. Totally. Oh, that's awesome. Well, before we get too much into your current business, let's step it all the way back. How did you get into manufacturing?
Sure. I think I kind of like, it's kind of with everybody on this podcast. I fell into it because it was a niche I liked. I was little. I took apart VCRs and, I always wanted to see how things worked. And that just kind of slowly evolved. And when I went to school, I was like, well, what am I going to do in school that like I can do this every day? So I kind of just naturally went towards like engineering, and I liked electronics a lot. I loved robots. So I ended up going through electronic engineering, was actually the schooling I went through. And then that kind of just slowly snowballed into manufacturing over time. It just I like to build things. So I would always get, you get a new tool. Let's say, I started with woodworking. That was the one thing everybody kind of slow step forward. And it's kind of one step led to the next step, led to the next step, led to the next step. And then I started building CNC routers, and then CNC routers turned into, and it just kind of kept going until I got into this world. And it pairs okay with my education, but it was way more in line with what I like to do. So I think that's why I did better at it.
Totally. So that whole time that you're building CNC routers, are you working as an electrical engineer, or like what did you do right out of school?
Yeah, so right out of school, I ended up getting a job. Oil field's pretty big up here. So I did a lot of oil field related. So that was basically my career path for a while. I did electronic repairs for some oil field equipment, and that was fun. And that gave me kind of enough disposable income to start playing around with stuff. I was super into like, obviously when MakerBot came out with their cupcake printer, I thought that was the coolest thing in the world. So I was a super early adopter for that kind of stuff. And I kept working that, and then just in my hobby world, I just kept filling my apartment with little automated tools. And thankfully my boss at the time was really interested in kind of like reverse engineering some really old parts so they could bring them into the modern age. And it was they're really complicated organic parts, so you wouldn't machine, or you'd have to machine them, and you wouldn't want to manually machine them because it'd just be really annoying. So anyways, he paid for me essentially to learn CAD, and that's what I started started messing with this. I started messing with CAD, and I started backwards kind of engineering all these parts and getting to, he was making big displays with them. They weren't, being used for anything specific, but it gave me a really good way to learn that aspect of it. And then that just got me interested in like, well, now I have this digital model. Like, can I make the digital model? And that's where the 3D printers kind of came in. But more than that, we had to make them out of big plastic pieces. So I started making routers and like old CNC or old like MDF and like skate bearing routers, just like really garbage things running on all threaded rods with stepper motors. Like this was, what year? This would have been like, I don't know, 2008 or something like that, maybe 2006. So like everything was really expensive. You couldn't get cheap stepper motors. You couldn't get all that stuff. Like everything.
I mean, this is just as that like revolution is starting to happen where like we're seeing 3D printers, we're seeing routers in people's garages, but yeah, they're all, put together with bubble gum and shoelaces, and none of them are great. So yeah, I definitely remember that time as well.
Yeah, when like the 3D printers were like $2,000, $3,000, and they were terrible. Like they weren't very good. But it's all we had.
Right.
And
yeah. So at that point, that boss you were still servicing electronic equipment?
Yeah. I was still doing servicing on is basically just like survey meters for like detecting radiation for non-destructive testing stuff.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it was okay. It wasn't something I wanted to do long term. Like building, 50s era or repairing 50s era technology wasn't like, it didn't really grab me. But the place was super nice. Like I met a lot of good friends there, and I had a lot of free reign to kind of do what I liked. So that was, I stayed there for a decent amount of time, and then just kind of slowly kept adding to my little kind of home shop, my home hobbies.
Mm-hmm. So where did you go from there?
So from there, I started. I kind of the whole time I've always been interested in like RC. I feel like RC is like the main bottleneck for anybody getting into like any kind of manufacturing, because you have these expensive things. Like in my case, it was helicopters and planes, but you have helicopters and like you crash a helicopter and it's like all the expensive parts are gone. It's just like, okay, well, I either got to buy all the parts again, or, like maybe I could fix them. So like if I had a blank, I could fix it. And so the router was great. I had a little router in my apartment, and it would route me out little circuit boards and kind of whatever I wanted in that regard, and some light aluminum parts. But I couldn't make round parts. And so that's when I was like, I need a lathe. I need a little lathe. So I bought a little benchtop lathe, a little metal tag lathe. Cost me like, I don't know, $300-$400. It was next to nothing. And I just started making little widgets and whatnots on it, just turning, mainly just scrap, just finding old bolts and turning them down, doing whatever I could. And then eventually you have a lathe and a pen is round. So I'm like, well, I'm just going to make a pen because it seems easy. And that's kind of what started this whole thing. I never intended to build pens. It was just the first easy product I made, and then it just kind of it's grown from that to what it is now. So it's kind of a trip. Yeah. Okay.
So did you go straight from that job to working for yourself, or what do we have in the middle there?
Yeah. So from that job, I ended up working with another kind of an offshoot of that company. We did a startup, same thing related to the non-destructive area. He knew I was getting more proficient with CAD and CNC systems. So he actually employed me to set up their like production with CNC routers, like big table, like 5x10, 5x20 gantry routers for cutting big sheet goods, essentially. So I said, yeah, I can do that. Like, sure. I know I have like, 6 months of CAD training behind my back, and I have little, 12 by 12 inch CNC in my apartment. So of course I'm qualified to, to run this giant router and pick it and like spec it out and like everything. So that was a ton of fun. Same thing. A really nice guy. I'm still in contact with him to this day. And yeah, I did that for years, and same thing on the sidelines, still kind of messing with pens, never seeing at that point that it would be like an avenue that I would make a living at. I didn't even think about selling pens at that point. I was just making it because it was fun. And then working that job, and then slowly they kind of ended up crossing where I ended up leaving that job. But I mean that took years, and it's like some people see like my Instagram, or they see like the pens, and they're like, oh, it's like so nice to have like an overnight success, and it's like it's not really like, it was just a really slow burn, and I wasn't ever pushing it, so it kind of grew organically, and that's honestly probably leads to a bit of my success. It's just, I think organic growth is kind of the best form of it, even if it is slow.
Totally. Yeah. So at what point did you start getting the inkling that this was more than just a hobby? Like, I guess maybe even before that, when was the first time you sold a pen to like friends or family? Because I would assume that those were the first customers.
Absolutely, yeah. So I built a pen out of like drill rod, like just actually it's from a 3D printer, an old linear guide or something like that.
Awesome.
So I built one. I sold some parts from another pen because I couldn't make a pocket clip. I could only make round parts. So I made this pen and I put it in my pocket. It didn't retract. It just stuck out and it stayed in my pocket. It like ruined every pair of jeans because it would just leak ink everywhere. But I remember signing like a piece of paper. I don't even know where I was. And someone was like, "Oh, that's a cool looking pen." And I was like, "Oh yeah." And so I gave it to them and they held them like, "Whoa!" They're like, "It's so heavy. Like that's cool." And they're like, "You should like sell these." I'm like, "Well, maybe I should do that." So then I started just refining the design a little bit better to something that would actually sell somebody as opposed to like this kind of kludged together piece of whatever that I had in my hand. And I came out with a pen that I called the MK1 because I'm great at naming things. The Mark I pen.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah. And I put that on Etsy back in the day. And I remember selling it. I sold it to a guy named Charlie. So thank you, Charlie. You started this whole endeavor. And that someone would pay for it. I think I charged like $80 Canadian for it. It was pretty. Like it was okay, but it was just brass and it was aluminum and it had some like press fit parts on it. It wasn't fantastic. And someone paid me for it. And that just like blew my mind that like I could make something like and someone would pay me for it. And like to me, that was like, I was like, I made so much money on, like I made no money on that pen. It probably took me like, like it probably took me 20 hours to make it. And I sold it and I was just jazzed. And so I did that a few times and that just kind of kept putting fuel on the fire of like, oh, this is like possible. And then everyone I'd build, I'd get better at it. And it just kind of like just learn by doing. And it just slowly grew. But it still took a lot longer before I decided I was going to leave my job.
So what did your shop look like at that point? Was it still the TIG? And
at that point, I think when I first sold a pen, I think I had my little tag and I had I think a hobby benchtop manual mill. I think that's all I had. I'm pretty sure I was doing all the work. Just same thing. You know, I'd build 4 and it would take me weeks and weeks and weeks to sell them on Etsy. And like it was a fun thing. And and I can't remember where I started to. I think the main area where I started to catch a little bit more traction with all this stuff is for the longest time I've kind of just been into just documenting stuff, just video for my own sake. And I put some of it on YouTube channels and whatnot. And back in the day, there was a site called Instructables, and you could like build something up, whatever, post your build guide or whatever, and it would, you know, if people were interested in it, they'd vote it, and you could enter challenges. So I decided I needed a bigger lathe. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to buy a lathe. I'm going to build a lathe. I found these plans for a concrete lathe. So you can basically cast the entire form out of concrete and then use, you know, various methods to build it. And I couldn't find anybody that actually built this. So I and the guy that designed it, I forgot his name off the top of my head right now, but he ended up contacting me as he saw that I was, you know, progressing through this build. And he's like, hey, if you finish this, I'll send you like a big 3-jaw chuck for it, like a big 10-inch or something like that. He's like, I don't see anybody, like no one else has built it. I'm like, really? And like, to me, that like clapped out 10-inch or 3-jaw chuck, you know, like a doorstop, 100% a doorstop. To me, that was like, whoa, a piece of precision equipment. That would be fantastic.
That's amazing. Yeah, Instructables is still super cool. It actually popped up in a search recently for me. Oh, I was doing Lang studs and I couldn't find my reference document, and so I was looking for it, and somebody on Instructables has like here's how to make a Lang palette Instructable. Really? I was like, oh sick. No. I remember this. Like I haven't been on this website in probably 3 years. Like that's awesome.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah. So you made the concrete lathe? It worked?
Yeah, I made it. I made a whole YouTube series on it. I'm still out there. People can check it out. And I entered into a contest. It was like make your own tools contest. And I think I got a runner up. I wanted to win it because I wanted the laser cutter. That was the prize.
Oh.
I got a t-shirt and some stickers. Whatever. not quite what I was after, but
bummer.
But that kind of put like a spotlight on just me in like the social world. And it just gave more people kind of ways to look at me. And that honestly helped a lot with just like selling pens. And then like every little step was kind of just like sequentially better and sequentially drawing more eyeballs to what I do. And I think that's like I think there's some luck involved on how I like ended up with a big enough audience to do what I do now. But like I said, it was just all little incremental tiny steps when I go back and think about it.
Right. So that was an inflection point, though. You think?
Yeah, for sure. Like they all helped. I mean, the lathe was garbage. The lathe, like I used it a little bit. I think Hackaday picked it up and put it on their site. Tormach picked it up and put it on their site. Like I had a bunch of cool things. I screenshotted them all back in the day because I was so jazzed about them.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it didn't work. Like it was terrible, but it was like it taught me so much, and it was just fun in that regard. And that kind of just that let me know that like I need better tools. I can't like make all my tools.
So at that point, were you already calling yourself Confounded Machine?
Yes, I was, like not in any legal sense of the name.
Where's that come from?
So sometimes I tell a story so many times that I don't know, like you start mixing facts and like, is this how it happened or did I make it up because this sounds better now? So,
it's like playing a game of telephone with yourself where you're
absolutely.
Like, am I embellishing? And then I'm embellishing on my embellishment. And now I'm like, how did this actually happen? Yeah, I totally understand that.
Right. And then you start convincing yourself that you're like, I think that's how it happened. I don't remember anymore.
Yeah. So anyways, what do you remember on how you found Confounded Machine?
To my best knowledge, this is how I think about it, is I was in my apartment, my original one that I had like the little CNC router and the lathe, and I wanted to call my company something, and I was like, I'm going to make this into a company. I'm going to do this one day. So I was trying to find a name, and I was looking at my router, and I was worried my router was going to be really loud. And it was really loud. I had it in a big soundproof box because it's a giant wood router, like and you're in an apartment, like everyone's nice and close. So I was like, oh, it's like, what kind of machine? Something machine. It's an annoying machine. I'm like, well, it doesn't really know what it's doing. I'm like, oh, it's a confounded machine. It has no idea what it's doing. I'm like, that's what it'll be. And then, so I went downstairs to talk to my neighbor. And this is where the story gets mixed. I can't remember if I thought about it. This is how I think it happened. But when I went and talked to my downstairs neighbor, I was like, hey, I have a machine upstairs. It makes a bunch of noise. I'm just worried. Hopefully it doesn't bother you. If it does, please come knock on my door. And it was a lovely older lady. And she's like, no, I have an oxygen generator and it makes a ton of noise. And I can't remember if she called her oxygen generator the confounded machine or if I called mine. So that's where, and anyways, she wasn't concerned at all. She's like, no, I have hearing aids. I can't hear anything. I was like, perfect. So yeah.
Yeah, you could not have asked for a better neighbor doing this in the apartment.
No.
That's amazing.
So that's where the name comes from. Yeah.
Okay. So you're starting to sell pens occasionally, timeline wise, where do we go from there? Like how do you go from there to being like, I am making enough pens that I'm going to leave my well-paying job?
Right. So I ended up buying a house and I moved my little basement shop. It was another basement shop. And then I ended up moving out to a little garden shed. And I think I started getting pretty active in Instagram about that era. And that let me put like bring that manual mill in there. I had the giant concrete lathe in the corner just collecting dust. And the little benchtop lathe. And I was like, I'm going to make this work now. I'm going to start selling more pens. So I think I made a website at that point, and I made pens they were good. I mean, people are searching for them now, which is kind of cool. Because I serialized all my pens right from the start. I've serialized every single pen. So the early ones, I was serializing them and people were like, what's these numbers on them? I'm like, well, it's a serial. Every single pen has its own serial. And I didn't think much of it, but now people are going back and trying to buy like some of my pens that I made back in those days. And they're paying crazy prices for them. Like, not to humble brag. It's wild that what people will try to collect. They'll collect anything.
Right. Right. That's amazing. Because you just made 900, right?
Yeah, I'll be hitting about 1,000 in this batch or so. Yeah, so
that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, in the little shed days, I was making 4 at a time or 8 at a time. So it's easy to
still.
You have a lot of numbers to go through.
Yeah, but it's just you,
right?
And to have done 1,000, I mean, that's impressive.
Yeah, well, thank you. And but yeah, at that point, like no amount of mathing would ever make that work out. Like you can't build 8 pens and sell them for whatever, $100 and make ends meet. Right. So I knew something had to change. So I worked in that little garden shed and I kind of just kept refining my design. And I obviously had to work, like it was still my part-time gig because it just wasn't going to work out. And the next main step was when I basically ended up moving into the house I'm currently at here. I deliberately got it with a large garage, and I told my wife, I'm like, we're probably not going to be able to park cars in here very long. Like, you'll be able to park your car in here for a little bit, but like the goal is to fill it with machines. I want to do this full time.
Right.
I moved all my equipment into the basement while I finished up the garage here to kind of build it how I want, bring in the power I needed. And at that point, I was making enough pens with just my little like tag lathe. I had then converted my hobby mill over to CNC. Like I put ball screws in it and kind of went crazy on that. I was making just enough that with my wife's income and with me doing this part-time, like I could just squeak by like keeping our bills, but like not making any kind of money and like making, you know, the minimumist of minimum wage, if you want to think about it that way. But I was doing it under my own steam. And once again, that was just like another like fuel to the fire. Like this is possible. Like you can make your own cash. You can make your own way in the world. Like to me, that just blew my mind that I wouldn't have to go somewhere to make a living. And that's like all those just slowly kept adding up.
So is your hobby mill, or was your hobby mill an X2?
Yeah,
or an X2 clone, I guess, or something. You know,
Geo 704 is the casting for it,
right? From Grizzly.
So it's like a Grizzly. Yeah. So you could buy like all kinds of hop up kit. Like now it has like it's got an epoxy granite column and it's got like a big brushless motor drive and tool chain. Like I used this for a long time before I actually bought a better.
This is the Curt vertical.
Yeah, the Curt. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like you can do. The one thing I've learned is you can do a lot with a little. Like you can do a lot more than people think with nothing. Like, and that little mill has made me like, it's paid for itself so many times over. Like it jump started all this before I could afford something better. And that kind of leads us into the kind of the main thing that made me go from being able to like, okay, I can squeak by and not starve to death. And then go from like, okay, now I can actually consider quitting my job, was buying a proper CNC lathe, which came with some caveats.
So yeah, let's talk through that. What do you have?
So there's a guy on Instagram who posted this. It was an old Hardinge HNC, and he posted a picture of it. And I was like, hey, if you're ever going to part with that, like I want it. Like it's a super cool old machine. And I was like, this probably like I can probably afford it. And it's like, in my mind, it was like this big industrial machine. And I'm like, this would be perfect. This is exactly what I need. Like 6 months pass and he ends up reaching out to me. He's like, hey, it's like, I'm moving across the country. I can't take this. Do you want it? It's like, absolutely. So it was about 3 hours south of me. Drove down there, looked at it. He's like, yep, I want it. Bought it, shipped it back up here. And I mean, it's a great machine. It's 1970s, 80s era machine, but it had no control cabinet, and it was like an old tape, like punch tape that you feed into it, like really precise. And it was an oil machine. Thankfully, it ran oil all its life, so it was just like everything was just mint on it, but no control. So I completely gutted it, took all the old encoders out, put new modern servos on it, rewired the motor because it was 600 volt 3-phase, and obviously I'm in a residential area, so getting 600 volt here was difficult. So I rewired the motor down to 200 so I could drive it off a VFD, 3-phase it, and finally got that running. And yeah, that was monumental because now I can make like accurate parts, and that really obviously increased my production, going from a little manual lathe to like an actual CNC lathe with a turret, and ability to feed a little bit of a bar. It's not a huge bar feeder, but like enough that I could get some unattended running while I was doing something else. That was monstrous. Yeah,
that's amazing. Yeah, and I mean that's probably a good place to plug your podcast, because I did not intend for you and Jamie to be back to back. That's not how we initially scheduled it, but you guys connect on a close level in terms of Linux CNC and retrofits and all of that. The Lone Machinist podcast. So that's really cool. That's where, I mean, I guess you come from an electronics background. So how was that as your first big time retrofit? I mean, obviously you had made small routers and stuff, but I would imagine interfacing and kind of planning for something for your business is kind of a different thing. Like if your router doesn't work, you're like, I'll work on it later. But like you needed this to make pens. So like how did the planning go for that?
Easy, because at this point, while I was still considering that I was going to do this like full time, I still had a safety net. Like I could fall back on my regular day job and be like, oh, if this doesn't work, I have a really cool lathe in my garage and whatever. Like I'll find another method. I don't have to make this work. And just taking that pressure off made it a lot easier. But at the same time, like I spent real money to buy it, and I spent real money to get it here, and then I spent a lot of money for all the upgrades, and then if you count time, like it's far more expensive than it should be.
Right.
But like, I don't have any other options. Like it was, I couldn't afford better equipment, and like used in this market is great if you want something gigantic. Like I said, it's oil field valve work. So like, yeah, if you want some monster equipment, sure, you can pick it up everywhere, but that kind of garage size stuff gets snapped up super fast. And I just lucked out. The Hardinge, like I said, it's very accurate. Like I have no issue. Like it runs parts cold to warm. Like it's holding super, super tight tolerances. Unless it blows up on me, I'm never going to get rid of it. Like it works well for what it does.
Awesome.
So yeah.
And then what about speccing out motors and servos and all of that? Did you just do a little bit of research and you were happy, or was there like a specific design goal when you were doing it?
I mean, I basically just wanted it to function as it did function, like with its stock systems. So I just kind of mimicked everything. And thankfully, there's a lot of people that retrofit these old machines, because you can get them for like $1 a pound. And they usually, if they're cared for, they still make great parts. You just can't run modern code in them unless you completely gut it. So that's what I did. Completely gutted it and put some ClearPath servos on there. And it's a lathe. It's two servos. It's not rocket surgery. Yeah, like if you get it to move, it's kind of done. And it had some complicated kind of air turret mechanism change thing. But once again, a few people had some information that I was able to, kind of copy paste, and I got it running. And like I said, that was the first big step where I was like, this is something that I can totally do part-time. And so much so that I ended up telling my boss about, 6 months later, after I kind of got my feet wet on how to use this machine. And now I could turn exotic materials. I could turn titanium. Up to this point, I was basically making pens out of brass. Mm-hmm. Some minor work in titanium, but for the most part, like I just didn't have the tools to work it. And by going to titanium, it let me charge a lot more for my product, which in turn kind of just generated more income and just kind of fulfilling kind of dealio.
Right. For sure. So how did, at that point, like, I would imagine that your designs were very limited by the machinery you had. So now you had this nice lathe. At that point, had you upgraded the Curt at all?
No, the Curt lived for a long time, but thankfully, like a pen, there's not a ton of
milling.
A ton of milling, a lot of turning.
Right.
Pocket clips are milled, but I mean, it was slow, but I would just let it do its thing and go, do something else or let the lathe run its parts. And it would kind of just slowly churn through the parts that I needed it to make. And the Curt, it's still here. I don't use it a ton for production, but I was able to get pretty far without it. Like said, far enough that I could consider doing this part-time.
Right. Well, up until recently, it was your only 4th-axis machine, right? Because your Syil wasn't quite working.
Yeah. The Syil is an interesting story itself.
Well, we'll get there. But what I was asking, or what I meant to ask, I was doing a poor job at it, is when you had this new lathe, how did it change your design choices and philosophy around your pens, besides just unlocking a new material?
For the most part, it just killed a ton of like the manual handwork of like just trying to make everything so nice. Like it would just come off the machine significantly better. And I didn't have to do the crazy weird work. Like I was doing a little bit of mill turning on my little mill to try to get CNC lathed parts. But now that I could thread accurately and I could turn, a part that I didn't have to comp every single time, it just let me do things like threaded fit ups that just worked better. Like just things you don't even think about until if you came from garbage machines, you would think about this. But if you come from like a decent machine, you would never be like, oh, what do you mean these two parts won't fit together? It's like, well, they're like noodles. You're machining on noodles. So of course they won't fit together.
Right. Okay. And then you said you talked to your boss at that point?
Yeah. I mean, me and him we're good friends. And I was like, hey, I think I can do this. It's what I wanted to. He knew like the whole time. I'm like, I think if I can put more time, I'm like, because I would work my day job and then I would come home and put like all my effort, like all my spare time, excuse me, into just like machining pens and then go to bed and then like wake up and do it again. So I was like, if I could take just like a little bit of time where I could, let's say, a day, a week or something like that and push towards it, I think I could do significantly better and like grow my company a lot more than I could just on evenings and weekends.
Mm-hmm. So were you asking him to go to part-time or 4 days a week, or how did you broach that with him?
He was completely flexible. He said, yeah, do whatever you want. Like if you want to, he didn't want to lose me. Like he's like, I don't want you to quit. So he's like, whatever you want to do, that'll let you stay here as long as possible. We'll do it. And he's like, and that way we can help transition like someone new into this role. And you can kind of get your feet wet. And if it's something that you can't do, you can always throttle back. Like he just gave me all the leeway and all the runway in the world, which I'm like so thankful for, which is why we still have a good relationship. Because like that's luck. Like not a lot of people have that.
Right. Totally. So then how did it grow from there? I mean, you had a little bit more time. What'd you do next?
Effort. Like just pure, like I just ground myself to dust making pens and trying to make them as good as I possibly could. And then selling them to people that were kind of, fanatics about it. And then it was nice enough that I don't want to say like they were better than everybody else's, but like I put so much effort into finishing that when people got them, they were like, wow, this is like, and I was underpriced. 100% I was underpriced in the market, which, yeah, like I probably left cash on the table, but I also made like a huge following of people being like, this is an insane value for the price. I can't remember what I was charging at that point for a titanium bolt action pen is essentially what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I was the same thing. I didn't have like crazy full books. So I was able to do fun anodizing, and I was able to do like, I would engrave people's names inside like intricate parts of the pens. Just like stuff that just all it took was effort on my part to grow it, and that just it kind of blew people's minds that they would get something and it would just like had all this like customization on it, and they're like, what? Like I didn't pay very much for this. I was like, yeah, no, but like I don't know, it's what I wanted to do, and it just that was huge. Like just blowing people's minds is like worth its weight in gold.
Totally. So at that point, were you still? What was your percentage between Etsy and Instagram sales, and like where were you finding your customers at that point?
Already at that point, I was lucky enough that I had a site built up, and just with the general like social media avenues, I had enough people coming to me that I didn't have to like sell through Etsy anymore, and I would sell pretty much everything I made in a reasonable time frame, like maybe a day or two. Whatever I would produce would sell out. So I never really had a I was lucky, and I never had a problem. I mean, mind you, the quantities were still small, but I never had a problem with marketing. So I'm terrible to ask in that regard, because like I always had people come to me, which is the best problem ever to have, is like when you don't have to worry about how you're going to get this in front of more people, when just like people tell their friends and then more come, and then it's like it was already saturating my production, even with just like the modest equipment I had. So my goal from there forward, like from there to today, is just make as much as I can, like make as quantity wise, make as many as I can while holding the quality. And that's like, that's a super, super delicate balance that some people, fall one way or the other off of. And like, yeah,
totally. So you had mentioned earlier though, that people love the story in addition to the pen. Were you, I guess, how prolific were you in terms of making YouTube videos alongside making your pens at that point?
For a while there, I was cranking out, I try to do maybe a couple of videos a month.
Okay.
And then I had a short spell where I was doing, I was trying to do like a couple of videos a week.
Ooh.
And yeah. But once again, like this was in a position where like my wife had my financial situation was stable, and I could afford to pay myself next to nothing to kind of pursue this. In my mind, it was just like, I'm just going to grow my marketing to the point where I'm going to be like, I'm never going to have to worry about but that's not going to be a concern of mine. It's like getting eyeballs is not going to, I'll just put interesting content out there for people, and I'll make sure that I'm not making any money and like,
right.
And it'll grow that way. And it did. And, so that didn't last long. Obviously, like if you want to do something and create videos, like the better your videos get, the longer they take. And then it's kind of like people appreciate the rawness of it, but also people appreciate good audio, and people appreciate like a concise story and cut. And like, it takes like, eventually at a point, it's like I always say, it takes like a minute of video takes about like an hour of editing. And that's like hack and slash editing. So if you want to do like a 10-minute video, it's like, well, you're spending a lot of hours.
Right.
So
totally.
That didn't last too long.
Jeez. All right. So then I guess let's talk about the next inflection point. What happened where you were like, you know what? This is now my job. This is my full time.
when once again, like none of this was never like a jumping off point. I remember setting in my phone, I set an alarm or like a date timer of like, this is the day I'm going to quit. And I think it was on my birthday. And it was about like half a year away. So I just had this like giant number on my phone and it would just count down every single day. And I would look at him like, okay, well, I'm in no position right now to quit my job. Like I'll be hosed if I quit my job. So I was like, just doing something like that was just enough in my brain to be like, okay, like how can I figure out, how can I gain efficiencies here? How can I find ways to automate things? How can I find ways to like make what I'm making easier without, spending a ton of money on equipment? Cause I just wasn't in a financial space to do that yet.
Right.
And like the money was coming in, but like it just, yeah.
Yeah. Not enough to where you could just start buying mills and lathes willy-nilly and consider leaving your job. And I understand.
Totally.
For sure.
Yeah. And like with no business history, like, okay, the first machine I bought, I was actually looking, I was like, I'm gonna buy a proper machine, like a proper VMC. That's kind of one of my bottlenecks is like, I need some sort of 3-axis machine that isn't like constantly just requiring upkeep and tweaking to make good parts. And I looked at Haas, obviously, because Haas financing, like, why wouldn't I? Like, no one can touch it. And unfortunately, I live in Canada. So here in Canada, they need 3 years of business records. And at that point, I was like 1 year in. Mm-hmm. So they looked at me, they're like, no, we can't give you any financing. And the bank's financing was terrible. So it's like, well, okay, well, I'm going to have to like privately finance. It's like, I'm going to have to do it myself, essentially.
Right.
So that really limited. I mean, I would have had a Haas, despite what people say about it. Like I could have afforded it. Like that's the reason it would have been.
Totally. Yeah. And get parts and service. And I mean, there's so many positives to that ecosystem.
Yeah. And when you're coming from a modified hobby mill, anything is going to be better. Like,
right.
It doesn't matter what you pick. It's going to be more reliable. Like maybe clapped out used machine, not so much, but pretty much anything is going to be better.
Right. So at what point in here, before you started looking for a new machine, did you modify your mill?
That was kind of a process that kind of just happened slowly over time.
Okay.
So I initially put like steppers on the original little hand manual screws. And then once I was able to get it moving around like that, then I machined parts so I could put ball screws into it. And then once I had ball screws, and I put epoxy castings on it. And then when I did that, then I just kind of just slowly kept just sinking money. Every single dollar I made for pens, I would just sink back into machines or equipment. Just take out the bare minimum I needed for whatever insurance. And then everything else just went into making this thing go, buying more material, buying more tools, and just kind of.
So were you following along the, what is it, X2 Freak build stuff? Because it's very similar, I think, isn't it?
I don't recall that. I'm not sure.
That's another like home CNC that many people, there's some guy, I can't remember what his name is, but like the X2 Freak was his like, hobby mill turned crazy that had everything under the sun. Yeah. So anyway, so you kind of did that slowly. So then, where did you go? Haas was too expensive. What was next?
I was looking at Tormach and I was looking at Syil just because they seemed to be decent machines. And this was a year ago when I was looking at them. So Tormach had just come out with their 1500 MX, which looked enticing for my size of work. And then Syil had their line of, X7, X5 machines. And honestly, it was neck and neck. I kind of talked to both companies and they were both priced very similar. Main reason I ended up going with a Syil X5. And the main reason is just it felt a little bit more of an industrial machine to me. Like it had I got one with the Siemens control. It was 3-phase. It was like 3 times the weight. So it's just some aspects to it. I was like, you know what? It's going to be a heavier machine. I think it's going to produce better quality parts for my needs. And that's I ended up going with that one.
What made you go with the Siemens control? Because I know a lot of people end up with the, LNC, just because there's such a big price difference there.
Totally. Canada. So the only one that was certified to be imported into Canada was a Siemens control.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. I spec'd it out with the LNC because obviously it's like a huge cost increase to go to Siemens.
Like 15 or 20 grand, isn't it? I guess US. I don't even know what it is in Canada. It's significant though.
Yeah. Yeah. It's monstrous. So I did not spec out for Siemens. And then they basically said like, well, this is the only one you're going to get. Like, all right, I guess that's what we're going to get. So they must have arranged some sort of deal as well, because I did not pay the $15,000 extra. Like I paid maybe $5,000 extra.
No way.
Yeah, it was dirt. Like I still don't know exactly how that happened, but I think it's just because maybe at that state they were kind of fading out those controls for this market. So maybe they hooked up a better deal with Siemens or one. I'm not sure, but I'm incredibly happy that it has a Siemens control and not an LNC control.
Yeah, seriously. So maybe this is the right time to talk about, you get this thing and you've had kind of an adventure more than you would have expected with a brand new machine. Talk to me about having one of those.
So, I mean, I knew this going in. Like if you're buying a budget machine tool, and Syil and Tormach and maybe not so much Haas just because they have so much support, but you're buying those budget price machines, you're going to have issues. I knew that going into this. Like I read the forum threads. I'm like, okay, I know getting this machine, there's going to be things I'm going to have to check over. And I wasn't super concerned about it. But I had like it was a cluster from day one. So I ordered the machine with a 4th axis and arranged for shipping, and like it's coming across Canada, and there's just like very minimal support. The company I was dealing with in Canada was very new. Like everything is just like, there wasn't a big brand. Like in the States, I think you have a couple of the big YouTuber guy, whatever, carrying that line now. There was like no support here. It was just like one guy working out of like a little rented shop or something like that. Like,
oh boy.
Yeah. So it was just like, okay, well, I guess I'll arrange trucking. Like what's your, like you just had to do everything you had to do yourself. Which is fine, whatever. And it shows up and I uncrate it, and it was like a day before we were going to have a blizzard. So I quickly uncrated it, and I had rented forklift, and I just squeak it into my garage and get it all set up, get it all aligned, and open it up and notice I'm like, oh, the 4th axis is in here. And I open the back electrical panel and I'm like, there is no 4th axis anything. Like there's no drives, there's no wiring, there's nothing. Like the 4th axis is sitting on the pallet beside the machine and there's nothing else. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be rough, because like I need that. Like I need that to build my products. So chatted with the distributor, and he's like, yeah, it's spec'd out on the like manufactured like build list that it has it. And so I ended up talking with Syil directly, and they're like, yep, it's our fault. Like something messed up in the factory where it's fully spec'd out, and you got it without anything. So.
That's a big QC issue. That's not we accidentally dinged your machine or something. It's like, no, just an entire drive is missing from your machine. Sucks.
Yeah, the entire drive, it was. Anyways, they were cool about it. I mean, as cool as you can be. Like, what am I going to do? That's the thing, is like, when you're working with a company that's on the other side of the world, like, how much power do you have to like put their feet to the fire, right? Like, they have your money already. It's like, you kind of have to be like, I don't know. I'm not an aggressive kind of guy. I was upset, but I was like, what am I going to do? Like, we just got to kind of 1 foot forward here. So I ended up talking with them. They were cool. They sent me everything. They said, if you're comfortable doing the install, we can send you absolutely everything. So they sent me everything, got it all wired up. That's the easy part. And then getting all the internals to talk to one another was just an absolute nightmare. Once again, I'm going through a distributor who's then talking to an overseas company that doesn't speak English, then talking back to my distributor, then my distributor talking to me. It's just like you said, it's a game of telephone where it's horrible.
Right. And you've got all that time difference too, and that creates such havoc. Yeah. Ugh.
So
what a nitmare.
Eventually one night I was like, you know what? I told my distributor, I'm like, just stay out of this. Get me your contact with your tech guy. And I just stayed up like all night because it was their day, whatever. Mm-hmm. And we just plunked through it. And it took an hour or so, but it took someone just like, you just have to like talk back and forth. You can't just like send an email and then wait a day and then get a reply and then wait a day. And like, it was just killing me. It was just weeks and weeks and weeks of this. So,
jeez.
We got it sorted. They gave me a credit, but I mean, like in the end, I would have rather paid more and just had it solved. Like it wasn't
right.
That's how it
so
is.
I guess at that point, you had already started making your pens with the ISO grid though on the Curt.
Yeah.
When did you make that change?
Between the machines here?
Well, just between like a normal pen, quote unquote, and like your kind of signature design that you have right now.
Sure. So like, yeah, for the longest time I just did like simple grips you could cut on a lathe or whatever. And then I got some more intricate, like little frag kind of pattern grips. And then I was like, you know what? I wonder if this little mill has enough, like, because it was milling like little 256 holes. I'm like, it's probably accurate enough to do some like nice surfacing. So I put a whole isogrid pattern over the pen and tried it. And it worked out really well. It made it made a great part. It takes forever, but it produces a good finish, which is also funny because now that I have the Syil and like it produces great parts, it can produce like the little Curt machine can produce pretty much the exact same quality, especially, you know, once you go through finishing. They almost look identical, just one takes 10 times longer. So like you could still do great parts on small machines. You're just not going to be profitable because it's going to take years and years to do it. But yeah, no, I brought that out before I even had the big machine. And that was once I saw the success of that and how many people were interested in it. Like, because I had to raise the price threefold to account for that pen because there's just so much more machining.
Totally, yeah.
And like no one batted an eye. And I was just like, oh, there's more to this than there's way more to this than I realized. So like that gave me more than enough like kind of resolve to know like, okay, I can put more money behind this. Like I can put more money behind this than I thought I could because like the interest is huge and it's crazy. Like who's going to spend $300 on a pen? Like that's madness, but loads of people do it. Loads of people spend tenfold that. Like it's crazy.
Right. Yeah.
Niches and everything.
Oh yeah. So were you still working your day job when you got the Syil, or had you already left at that point?
At that point, I was basically at a point where I was like, hey, call me if you need me. Like I don't want to work here anymore. But is it like they were in a position where they were struggling to find help. So I'm like, if you get in a jam, just call me and I'll happily come and help you guys. But leave me alone otherwise. And they did that. So I was at this point, I was basically full time. Even though on the books it technically wasn't full time, I was here basically every day, plunking away. So yeah.
Okay. So then any changes since the Syil, or are we pretty much current?
Pretty much current. So I have the Syil, and then I bought a big manual lathe just kind of on a whim because I needed just for some manual lathes are always useful. So I just bought the biggest one I could find in here. And now we're kind of at the point where my next bottleneck is definitely the Hardinge. And if like the Hardinge goes down, I have to replace it with something. And my business relies on a lathe. So it's kind of sketchy to be sitting on a, 50-year-old machine. I mean, I can fix any part on it, but still, like I don't make a lot of money fixing machines now. I want machines to work. So right now I'm kind of in the market I've kind of been looking at new lathes, and obviously like Swiss is kind of the land that I'm looking at because just it pairs so well with what I want to do.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, your parts are for sure Swiss parts.
Yeah.
There's nothing about a pen that doesn't say Swiss.
No. Yeah.
Well, I know that we have a question about Swiss later, but let's get into some questions then from the Patreon Tux Garage. First, he asked why you focused on pens, but I think we covered that. But how do you keep yourself motivated? He says you have an impressive attention to detail, and he loves your work.
Oh, I appreciate that. That's very kind. I'm into it. Like I'm really into this. Like I go down the stationery aisles and look at pens. Like I just geek out about this stuff. Like it's super interested in me. Like if me and Jamie on our podcast, we talk about that all the time. Like if you're like genuinely interested in something and you manage to have and that's a skill that you can like sell, like to, make a living in this world, you're so far ahead of everybody else. Like you're in a great position because like I don't have to like force myself to do this. I genuinely want to do this every single day. And it's like, it's wild that it hasn't like, I don't know. Whenever I talk to like family or friends or whatever, they're like, "Oh, if you turn your hobby into a job, you're gonna hate your job." It's like, yeah, but like you actively hate your job right now. Like,
right?
I still like what I do, so like I'm already ahead. Even if I do end up hating it, I'm still ahead of you. So
right?
It's like I never understood that, but yeah, I don't know. I just genuinely like it, so motivation comes easy.
That's awesome. From Instagram, Joel asks, what is your favorite titanium finishing technique, both to do and then what it looks like when it's done?
So my favorite one to do, is like blasted. Throw it like I was talking to you a little bit about vapor hones because it's just like tumbled or blasted. It's easy. You don't have to focus on it. Like there's equipment out there that you can automate it. That would be my favorite to do because it's dead simple. But my favorite one that looks is that entropic finish I do on titanium, which is like kind of an acid anodize. And you get these crazy patterns of like thunderstorm nebula kind of looking things. And people love it. And it's so annoying to do. It's so easy to do. You can Google it, entropic finish. Anybody can look it up and do it. And it's one of those things where it's like any little deviation causes massive differences. And like I've cried so much over that finish. Just like, because you don't get a second try. Like you get the one shot to do it, and if you fail, it's like, well, that's cooked. Like you can blast it and make it a blasted, but you can't really redo it. So it's like to get a clean result, you're like, okay, this is all ready. I could sell this and let's put this finish on it and see if it works out. Like, most of the time it does, but sometimes it doesn't. And you're like, okay, well, next.
How do you go about planning your batches? Because I would imagine finding that sweet spot has probably taken some learning. You know, oh, do I make 50 and have it take a month and a half or 2 months? Or do I make 10? And, you know, like, where did you find that sweet spot and how did you go about that?
I'm still trying to find that sweet spot. Like the problem is that it's always changing. It's as I make changes to the design. And I think that's the one thing that people really like kind of hone in on is like, I love iterating. Like I love making incremental changes like all the time. Like that's just something that is like, it makes my brain happy. So in turn, like I'm always fighting different batch size. Like I've tried to do like huge batches of, you know, like let's say, well, in my land, a huge batch would be like 50 to 100. Mm-hmm. And then super small batches, like maybe 12. And just trying to see like, okay, do I want more time with a bigger batch or do I want to try to one piece flow? And I can't quite get to that point. But like right. I'm constantly waffling back and forth. Sometimes I do smaller batches because it keeps you're jumping through tasks faster and it's a little more interesting. Sometimes I do bigger batches just because it's like you can throw a podcast on and just kind of chill out and, you know, let machines keep doing, you know, once they're all set up for something. So
right. Totally.
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't found the sweet spot yet.
What right now is your typical batch?
I like about 50. 50 feels nice right now, where it's not overwhelming either of the machines. The cycle times kind of balance out. Yeah, like the lathe, the mill, they play well. The mill obviously still kind of accelerates past everything because it's a lot quicker. I have a lot more lathe parts than I have mill parts, but yeah, 50 feels pretty good right about now.
How long does that take you roughly?
I try to do about 2 to 3 weeks of like build, like production, and then I try to take a week off to do like design and like coming up with new iterations and new products. So like if someone follows my Instagram, they might see like production, and then it just looks like I'm just like on a vacation for like a week doing something totally like out in left field, because that's kind of how I want to build new products, but like it's me running the levers and cranks here. So I give myself basically a week to play and to come up with new designs or new ideas or new products and then go back into production. So yeah.
So about 3 weeks then for 50, or is it 2 cycles for 50?
About 3 weeks.
Okay.
About 3 weeks. Yeah.
Awesome. That's really cool. How do you go about, if you're constantly making incremental changes, how do you go about making them in a way so that if you have like a customer that needs a new tip or a new pocket clip, that you're not obsoleting all of these pens?
Absolutely. That's a super, super good question. Like backwards compatibility, right? Like I rage about anything that isn't backwards compatible.
Right.
I build a plethora of jigs. So I have jigs from like my very first pens up to modern pens, which is really complicated because like some of my early pens, like the tolerances were not so great. The tolerances now are fantastic, but like if I build, like they're not going to swap. And some people understand that, like it's fine. And
right.
Some people have sent me really old pens and I'm like, you know what? Like I can't just send you a part. Like it's just, especially, you know, 2024 prior, it's like, I'm not gonna be able to send you a part that's gonna fit up perfectly. Like it'd fit maybe, but like I need it back if you want it to fit perfectly. And now it's that tolerance band has gotten a lot smaller where if someone needs something, I could typically send it to them and it fits up really well, which is, yeah, that's a whole thing in itself. Like,
right. But some of your stuff is keyed between the tip and the body and all of that stuff too, right?
Yeah, I do a lot of like thread clocking, and same thing. I have like a crap ton of jigs for that because I'm like, okay, well, how do I clock a thread? And then like someone else needs this down the line. Like, how do I reclock it? And like, they're fine threads too. So it's like, I go overboard on the jigs. That's my short answer for that. And still, I usually preface it when I send somebody something. I'm like, it's probably going to fit up. If you want it perfect, send it back to me. But most people, I don't break or lose things. And if they do, they just buy another entire pen. So it kind of works out for me.
All right. That's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Very cool. Your co-host asked him about the fruit grip.
Jamie. So I messed up once and said fruit grip in a story, and then he wanted one. So I've designed a grip pattern on a pen for Jamie. It has a very specific type of fruit on there. and I'm just going to line the entire pen with it. It is coming out. It's not pressing on my book. So,
Oh man. Oh, before we go on any further, we got to talk about your new product that you've been experimenting with. It's been a lot of fun to watch you develop it in your stories. I mean, definitely secondhand frustration for you, but
I appreciate it.
Very cool. So, where did that come from? Why such a departure from pens? Tell us all about that.
Sure. So that kind of gets to the main whole reason I started this company wasn't to make pens. Pens just caught. I like them. It worked out well. People buy them. It pays bills. I like pens. I named the company Confounded Machine partially because I wanted to build what I would call like confounding mechanisms. I want to build like puzzles, essentially super intricate puzzles. Even like the works of like, I don't know if you know Chris Bathgate. I don't know if you follow him on Instagram. Like he does crazy, beautiful art projects.
Oh yeah. Yeah. He was on the podcast a couple years ago, I think.
Yeah. Anyways, I love that dude's work. And I would like to get into that avenue more of like doing more complicated and less art, more heavy mechanical, like intricate little clicking and moving and sliding and just like Japanese puzzle boxes in the modern era with, metals. That's what I really want to build. But that, like, you think titanium pens is a niche market, like crazy expensive little titanium puzzle boxes, way more niche. So
do you follow Pacific Puzzle Works on Instagram?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah,
of course. Yeah.
That's what first. Yeah, that's what first came to mind when you started talking about that stuff, because he makes very cool stuff. Like that. He had a puzzle sled. I made a puzzle sled for my table saw back in the day off of his design because I liked his work. Yeah. Very cool. So then, what is this thing that you're making? Do you have a name for it yet? Did I miss it? What is it?
Once again, great at naming. So I call this the Mech One because it's Mechanism One. It's kind of my first foray into building a mechanism is what I'll call it, for lack of a better word. But I thought, like, I didn't want to build like a fidget spinner because I'm like, well, that era passed. And I didn't want to build like a slider with magnets because everyone's doing that. And like I wanted to build something tactile, and so I ended up building like everything into one. So it's essentially a fidget. It spins. Then it's got a slider, and it's all springs and ball detents and like sliding pins and brush bearings. And
will you show it off for the people who watch this?
Yeah. So it's just this little. It's got an Ultim core, and this specific one has just little printed ends. These are resin printed and then partially machined to bring some of the tolerances back to them. And I don't know. I'm digging it, but it's been a nightmare to produce at quantity. Like producing one was easy, but just trying to get the systems in place to make a bajillion of these is super complicated. And the interest is high, which is lovely. Like a lot of people have sent me messages and say that they're into it.
I mean, it looks very satisfying to play with. Like it ticks so many boxes that it's like somebody will find something about it that they like, I think.
Totally, yeah. And it's just been it's got enough like intricacy and like tiny tight parts that it makes me happy. But it's also just absolutely killing me to try to make it. So but that's the same thing. That's that week of time I've just been sinking tons of it into this thing. Trying to make it go, and then kind of pens have been sitting on the back burner. But now unfortunately I'm out of the week of playing with that, so we're back into production. I would just like to tinker on this for weeks, but like I'll starve, so can't play that game.
That's awesome. Speaking of naming, did you continue your naming convention? Like, are your pens mark something at this?
I think I started calling them like the EDC. The EDC Bolt is what I. Like the everyday carry bolt action pen is what I ended up calling it, and then that kind of just caught. So, that's basically what it's called. It just kind of slow. I was gonna find a fancy name for it. I was like, you know what, I'll put it on my little board. Like, find a new name for this and market it as that. And that was years ago, so it's still marketed as that. So yeah,
hey, it's working. That's what matters.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right, so we have gotten to the Swiss question. Foot Pedal Jones asked, when are you buying a Swiss? So what's that looking like? Is that a pretty strong contender to replace the Hardinge, or?
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. I I wish I had the US market of Swisses that you guys have, because like you can go down to your corner store and pick up a Swiss, it seems. Like they are so much more rare up here, and like to import them is possible. Like I could find a great one in the States and bring it up. It adds, $10,000-$20,000 to the price tag like really quickly.
Right. And this is about the worst time in our lifetimes to do that as well. So yeah. I'm not sure I would recommend that either. But yeah, I can see how finding a Swiss in the middle of oil country is probably not the easiest.
Yeah, and I mean, they come up. Like I have billions of alerts set up so that like anyone that ever crosses that comes up for sale, I know about it. It's on the horizon. I just need to find something that's fits all my needs. It's not giant, it's not clapped out, it's not a paperweight, and also isn't, brand new. I mean,
right.
I'm probably going to end up going brand new, honestly, because like it's difficult. It's difficult to get a used machine, and used Swiss machines are like, I know a few Swiss guys and they're like, oh yeah, if you buy old used one, buy two, because like you're going to need the parts. It's like,
oh boy,
oh, yeah. Oh, you know that world from like your Kitamura days, right? Like,
oh yeah, yeah. Brad and I still remember there was one night where like we had just had the control board fixed, but by a third party, and it started working again. And we took what at that point was the largest order we had ever done for a relatively new customer, and the machine just crapped out on us. And then we spent from like when it crapped out, which was like, I don't know, 5 p.m. till 3 a.m. at his day job using their machines to try to get back to where we were. And then we were just having issues because like we were trying not to tear down their standard tools and trying to work around their fixtures and stuff. And like finally we just had to give up. Like we just like, I think we had broken 2 or 3 drills and a couple of end mills at that point, and we were like, all right, we're just done. And like it was such a scary thing. Like we were like, oh, we've lost this customer for sure. And then I emailed them. I'm like, I'm so sorry. Here's the situation. Blah blah. And they're like, oh, it's totally fine. We're good. I'm like, oh my,
that's awesome.
Okay, cool. But it was that was like the real type 2 fun that like that was a core memory right there for both Brad and I.
Right. Yeah.
We've had many overnights since then, but like that is the one that really sticks out as just like the worst night ever. So
and nothing helps you like troubleshoot and fix a problem better than like mounting stress and like
right. Yeah. Rushing is always really, really good for productivity.
Absolutely.
All right. Two Fat Spiller asked, do you write a lot of notes or document every small thing that may be relevant in the future? So what does your documentation look like for the pens? Besides, it sounds like you've got great fixtures, but to go along with those, do you have work instructions? How do you go about that?
Yeah, like I try to document I sell pens, so I do a lot of writing. So I have like a ton of journals. I have like a shop journal where it's like, if there's something that I need to remember, I typically write it down because that's what works with me, and I enjoy that. And for the most part, I treat kind of Fusion as my gospel. Like everything that's in CAD is what's correct, and I just try to iterate off that. And then if there's major iterations, I'll break them off. Like this specific pen is like, I think I call this my version 3 of it, even though to the customer nothing has really changed. In my land, things change enough that I keep breaking it out. It's the same thing, like so I can track where all my changes are, and if something horrible happens, I can be like, oh, don't go that way. Like this is the way we have to go. So
okay,
I write tons down.
Very cool. Debris Factory asked, have tariffs or de minimis changes affected your growth goals?
No, which is a lucky answer to say, I would say. I have enough interest, and I'm probably priced low enough in the market that people don't seem to care if they have to pay extra to get my the hype train is real. Like things can get hyped up and people can be jazzed about it, and thankfully people are jazzed about my product, and I try not to hype it up more than it already is, because like that seems excessive. But all to say is there's enough demand that people don't mind paying a little bit of extra if they can get their hands on it. So yeah, the tariffs haven't been a huge issue. Shipping is kind of annoying just because everything slows down, and US is still one of my large markets. So that has been annoying. I had to actually shut down the last month of orders to the US just because same thing, so much tariff uncertainty just was difficult to ship because like no one knows who's paying what. But that looks like it's getting more ironed out these days. So
Good.
yeah, just kind of take it as it comes.
It's a pain in the ass for stuff. Like I bought something recently that just for myself, and it was already like a more expensive than it should have been. Like it's a little handcrafted thing from another country, and I was like, oh, I'll probably have to pay 10-15%, whatever. Like it's not a big deal. It gets here. They don't tell me anything. It gets here in Tucson, and DHL emails me and says, oh, you owe tariffs on this before we can drop it off. And I go, it was $110 item, and I paid $80 in tariffs, and they didn't tell me until it was already here. And there's no returns for tariffs. So like,
sure,
it was like, so I either pay 79% more than I expected to, or I get nothing. And I'm out the $110 I'd already paid. I was like, neat. This is fun.
Yeah.
So I can totally understand tariff uncertainty being. So let me ask you this, because people love what they can't get. When you announced that you weren't shipping to the US, did you see a large spike in requests from the US?
I had a huge amount of people basically use like proxies. They paid Canadian people to buy pens from me, and then they got them to and I warned these people, like my fellow Canadian customers that were buying from me. I'm like, just be warned, it is kind of annoying to ship across the border right now. Like there's just nothing really in place. All the automated systems kind of crashed. You had to do it in person. I'm like, it's going to be tedious. So if you have to do a bunch of these, just know going into it. Like, I appreciate you. That is so cool that you're able to do that for somebody else. Like that blows my mind of just the generosity and like the friendliness of the whole community. But it's going to be annoying. That's the reason I'm not doing it.
Right.
So yeah, I still had a massive amount of US sales just through proxies. So
that's awesome.
It was, like I said, these are all problems that are just fantastic. I couldn't be more lucky and happy.
You should do, I don't know if you saw that the Swatch Group did a special tariff watch because they're based in Switzerland. Right now, the tariff is like insane. It's like 39%.
Right.
And so they swapped the 3 and the 9 on the watch. So it read 39 rather than 93. And it's like a special edition one. So you should do like a custom clip with like whatever the current percentage is from Canada to US.
I did do, when this whole kind of fiasco started, I did do a Canada edition pen where it's just has like, it has maple leaves engraved into it. It's like I anodized it as close to maple syrup as I could. I put it in the boxes. The boxes are scented with maple syrup. Like I went,
that's amazing.
There's a beaver engraved on it. Like there's a bunch of hidden maple leaves in it. So I built that because I was like, you know what? I don't know if I'm going to be able to ship to the States. So like, let's do something fun for like my local customer base.
Right.
And, and I'm only making a finite amount of those. I'm making whatever 148 because that's how old Canada is. So I'm only making 148 of those, and just kind of just mix them in here and there as I'm building. But yeah, those have been hugely popular, which is kind of nice. I was somewhat worried. I was like, I don't know, if I lose my U.S. market, like that's going to be rough.
Oh yeah.
And, that hasn't been the case.
What you just said about selling out and stuff just triggered. When did you switch to raffles? Whatever you call them, at what point did demand grow so high that you were having to do stuff like that?
That I think I switched to that about a year ago, where people were just getting frustrated with like I would normally do like first come first serve sales, so I would load up my site with all my stock I could, and hit publish, and people would buy it out, and then when it was selling out in like a day, it didn't seem so bad. Like people could kind of go on and get something. But then it started selling out faster and faster and faster to the point where it became an issue of like, how fast was your internet connection?
Ooh.
And that just seemed like, I'm like, these are pens. Like I'm not selling, artificial hearts or like the elixir of life. Like they're
right.
It seemed mean. I wouldn't want that. Like if I want to buy a product, I don't want to like scramble to buy it. So I figured the lottery system is the best. So people just basically can put their email into the lottery pools I had, and then I would just randomly select. So 80% of the names I would pick chronologically, and then 20% I would pick at random. That way, if someone signed up like a year down the line, they're not like, well, you're going to wait a year now. It's like, well, you might get it on the next batch. You don't have a super great chance, but it's kind of a balance that I could try to keep everybody happy.
That's cool.
And that worked out. Yeah, that worked out really well. That's how I continue to sell. And actually, oddly enough, the lotteries are closed right now because once again, those got too big. And yeah, right now there's like no. There's
I remember you talking about that you're like, the list is too long. I need to go through and like purge everyone and have them re-sign up, which is crazy. I mean, that's super awesome. It sucks, but it's super awesome.
Yeah, it sucks. It sucks for the client, like the customer, because I don't want to like hassle you, and I don't want you to wait. Like I want to give you, like I want to sell you things. I just can't make them fast enough. So that's right. That's a nice thing
for sure. The Matt SD said, "What are some good resources to get started with CAD and machining?"
I mean, that's probably a question we could both put information into. I don't know. I like doing. I think doing is like Fusion is cheap. I would say jump on that. It's free if you're just, tinkering with it. And especially nowadays, like 3D printers, that's the best way. Like a digital thing and then a physical product, like that's the best way to get your feet wet.
Yeah. I was going to say the same thing. Like Fusion, it's never been easier to learn stuff like that. It really has never been easier. It's free. There's a million YouTube channels. Like, it kind of just depends on what you want to do with it as far as designing and then machining. Yeah. I mean, I would start with a 3D printer or buy a cheap CNC router. I mean, you can buy like a little shitty desktop router to play around with for like, what, $300-400 on Amazon?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. If you break it, you're like, oh no, I got to fix it for $10. Like, oh no.
Totally.
Yeah. So those are great resources, I think. Yeah, it's we live in like the golden age of learning this stuff for sure.
Oh, 100%. I could not agree with you more. Like, yeah, if you're into this, all you have to do is like the most light Google search, and you'll get flooded with information. It is incredible how much easier it is.
Yeah, well, and there's so many maker spaces too that are like stocked with like relatively decent CNCs now. I don't know if Titan's still doing his small group stuff, but you might be able to find one of those local to you. I really have no idea if that's still a thing that they do, but there's just so many things out there for people who are interested.
Yeah.
Let's see. Arc Builders said, any big lessons learned with the X5 not found in your YouTube vids? So would you buy one again? Let's start there.
Yes, because with the caveat of like I tell anybody that's interested in it that sends me a message, be like, hey, I'm thinking about this. I'm like, just know going into it, like when you receive it, you're probably going to want to tear it down. Like I had a clogged oil line leading to one of the like the little like linear guide, like things like that. Like that shouldn't happen on a machine that you're spending $50,000-$60,000 on. Like the dumbest little things, but like I knew that going in. I'm like, I'm buying a quote budget machine, even though it seems expensive. It's still very budget priced. I would do it again in a heartbeat. I think the mechanical systems of it are fantastic. I think their QC is terrible. It's horrible. But like, that's what you're paying for. Like, that's what you're not paying for is the QC. That's why they're the price of what they are.
Yeah. Now I know that they just released another picture and video of a different U5 or U500 or whatever they're calling their 5-axis now.
Right. Yeah.
It's completely different than the last one that they showed. And I think somebody said they got a quote for one at like $200,000, which it's like, if you look at the pictures that they just posted, it is a direct copy of an older DMU50.
Right.
So like if you're getting a DMU50 for $200,000, then maybe it's okay if you want to go through it with a fine tooth comb, like you said, and like make sure that there's not, because a clogged oil line on that thing is going to be real expensive, or could be really expensive really quickly. So
totally. Yeah.
That's tough. Do you wish you had gone for the X7? Because that's the bigger one, right?
I do. I hate the umbrella tool changer. I mean, maybe they come with a side mount too. Maybe the side mount. I didn't want to use up a bunch of floor space. Like I said, it's a 20 by 20 foot garage, so like space is a premium. But the X5 was the same weight as the X7, or like give or take a few $100.
Oh, weird.
So, as my opinion, I was like, okay, well, like a smaller, heavier machine is probably going to just cut better than a bigger machine. Even if the table is larger, like maybe that's moot. Maybe that doesn't matter. But my product is tiny. Like if I can machine my fist, like that's ample for my needs. And the tool changer on the 5 was just so much faster. The spindle was much faster. Just there's a bunch of things that just lended better to my requirements.
You have what, a 20,000 RPM spindle?
Yeah, it has 20K in it. Yeah.
And it's BT30?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so let's talk about screws really quickly. How's the screw journey going? Making your own screws.
Yeah, the screw journey is going fantastic now. I'm so pleased with that. So yeah, I basically blank them out on the Hardinge. So these are 256 size screws. I've been buying them forever from a company in the States that turns them on a Swiss. And I thought I would need a Swiss to make them because they're T8 Torx head. And I want them pretty. Like everyone's like, just broach it. Well, it's like people are looking at my product with magnifying glasses. Like they don't, they'll pay the extra to see a machined pattern in the bottom of their screw as opposed to a broached, with the garbage it leaves. Anyways.
Right.
So yeah, the Hardinge blanks them off and then they all go into a fixture into the Syil. And it does its thing. And I finally stumbled across a feed and speed that worked. And now I bought handfuls and handfuls of those tiny, like 10, 20 thou end mills because I thought I was snapping them left and right. And now one has ran hundreds of screws. And
no way.
Issues. Yeah. So I could queue that up tonight and go to bed and I'd be happy to come in and see screws machines. So yeah, it worked out well.
What did you change? And then what tool did you end up on? Who makes it?
The tool is made by a Canadian company, DeBoer Tooling is like basically all my tooling now. Okay. But there's nothing special about it. Like a Harvey would work just fine. I have a gang of different ones and I'm pretty confident now that I know to, baby these tools. I just, chip load, like infinitely small chip loads. Like I kind of came into this whole CNC racket when people are like, oh, if you cut too fine, you're going to rub. It's like, I don't know if that's the case with carbide anymore. Like you can have like the tool that does that Torx. I think its chip load is like sub 10. It's insane how small it is.
Yeah.
And it just cranks it. Beautiful wall finish, crazy tool life. Takes a little bit of time, but like it's reliable. So I'll trade that any day.
So it's what, a 0.4 millimeter?
Yeah, 0.35. It's a 15 thou end mill. Yeah. So, but yeah, and I plunk out the center with a drill. And then I just spiraled like helix down, so I'm not like
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
because you tried like what, high speed machining it. You tried contouring it, all kinds of stuff.
I tried everything. I tried like drilling out all the corners with like a little 0.3 drill to try to like alleviate everything. I tried like then machining it all with like slightly like a 30-second tool to get. And the best was just coming with the little tiny tool and just helix down, super slow, like going down. I don't know, like thou at a time. Round and round and round and round and round and round all the way to the bottom, and that just works great. Like I said, I haven't broke a single one. Wall finishes are great. I mean, it's inside a Torx. Like who's going to look in there? But still, it's like they fit up well and it's reliable. It took me forever to figure that out.
How long do they take each? No,
I think each screw takes about maybe a minute to blank on the Hardinge, and then about I think 5 minutes to do all like the machining on the top side.
So that's not terrible. Like you said, you can run it overnight, put a bunch of them and you just come in and the machine's still running probably.
Yeah, totally. Like I think I was paying about $4 a screw because they're obviously titanium. And yeah, I don't mind spending the 5 minutes a screw or 6 minutes if you count both, I guess, to have a screws. And like all I got to stock is titanium now. And it's just one less thing of like bringing across the border and like tracking and like, oh, am I out of those? I'm like, okay, well now nothing can go out because I don't have screws and like kind of the dumb stuff like that. So
makes sense.
Yeah.
Ryan says, do you have a specific favorite part of the process when you make a pen?
I kind of like it all. Like I'll go through stages of like where I'm starting to build it and I'm like, oh, I really like this part. And then as I'm done that, I'm like, okay, now I dislike this part. And then it kind of follows me through the whole build process till I get to the end and I'm shipping out. I'm like, I like shipping. I like boxing up orders. By the time I get to the end of it, I'm like, I hate boxing up orders. I never want to do this again. I'm like, oh, thankfully the next day is back into production. So it works well. It kind of it's just annoying enough by the time I hit the end that I'm looking forward to the next stage. So yeah, I don't know. I kind of like it all. I mean, obviously the final fit up is the best because then you get to see that everything you did worked out.
Right. Yeah. That makes sense. What does your packaging look like? I don't know that I've seen it.
Yeah, I don't know if I have some pictures. It's basically just like I I do my shipping box. I try to keep my packaging really like it's completely just a white box because people have complained like, hey, if you have marking on your box, like our postal service steals them or there's like tons of mail fraud. So I ship in just a white box and you open it and there's a bunch of laser cut parts and the pens kind of come in like a little Toblerone box with a little label on them. And yeah, I don't know, people dig it. I have a little personalized message in there and some like QR codes and yeah. I don't know.
Cool.
Yeah, I tell people like my favorite thing to say is like you get one chance to make a first impression. So like whenever I buy something fancy, like look at your phone. Your phone's a perfect example, right? You buy a brand new phone, you open it in the box, it's like a friction closer box. You open it, it's presented to you perfectly. You know, the things lift out with little tabs. Like it's done to make the unboxing experience pleasant.
Oh, totally.
Like, they could totally just send you that in a box with some, you know, bubble wrap wrapped around it, and it just wouldn't have the same feel. So I try to put a lot of effort into making packaging that looks cool.
Oh yeah,
because
I think
people feel like it's worth it. Yeah,
right, exactly. The most recent example I have of that is my wife bought me one of Joe from Cobra Frame Buildings, his flashlights.
Saw that. Yeah.
The 3D printed packaging that he includes is like so top tier because it's like not only a storage box, it holds all the batteries. The little lid that you slide off is also the certificate of authenticity. Yeah. It was just like so well done. And like you said, it felt like $1 million. Like it was like, this is so special when you take it out. And it's like the flashlight's amazing too, but like I think I probably played with the package almost as much like in the first hour of having it as I did with the flashlight.
And I bet you like it lit your brain up to like you would have like you open it and you're already excited opening it. Like you're more willing to overlook. Let's say there was a flaw in the flashlight. Like you wouldn't latch onto it as fast as if it came in just, you know, like wrapped in paper. You'd be inspecting. Like it kind of sets the tone. I don't know. It sounds hoity-toity and whatnot, but
no. I think you're 100% right. Yeah.
No, his flashlights, those are cool. I love the way the business card slides into, or like you said, the certificate of authenticity. I think that was really class act.
Yeah. Yeah. He did a great job. I cannot wait to see what he does with them. I know he's working on his next batch or starting to work on it. So come on, Joe. Let's see the next one.
Yeah.
Let's see. AJ asked, any plans for a new mechanism?
Yes. Yeah. I have one in the works. I've been working on a click. Like obviously you build a pen, you're going to build a click mechanism. Like that's the way pens work. Anybody that grabs one of my pens, if they don't know anything about it, they first try to squeeze the end. You're like, I know. I need to build it to do that. But I want to build it all myself. So I had 10 iterations of things I'm just not happy with. Finally in this last 6 months or so, I came across something that I actually like and designed it. So hopefully that'll be coming out in the next probably next year, early next year is what I'm shooting for. I want it to be live for Pen 1000, so I don't have much time left.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So it's coming up real close.
Yeah, you're getting there.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
And then you put on your list that everyone asks you, when are you going to make more pens in Zirc, copper, bronze, unobtainium? What's going on? Why just titanium, man?
It's basically Zirc is awesome. Zirc is a fun material. I've done a few I did one pen in Zirc. I have some Zirc here, but like anybody that's machined zirconium, it comes with a bunch of especially in a lathe that runs oil, like my Hardinge is an oil lathe. Running titanium in an oil lathe is kind of freaky enough. I've gotten over it, but running zirconium is like way scarier, especially when you don't have a fire trace system. So like I don't run it unattended. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the main reason is honestly just like, if you want to go and stock a bushel of zirconium, it's going to cost you an arm and a leg. And I do want to play with like fancier materials. Like in the past, I'd put meteorite into pens.
Ooh, cool.
Like, yeah, superconductor, like all the kind of crazy fun stuff. I want to definitely do more of that, but it's one of those things where I've built myself a really good job where like I don't have time to like play so much. Like I haven't built a business. I built a really, really, really good job where I just have to kind of like dance, monkey dance, and
right.
The money keeps coming. But if I stop dancing, the money stops. So it's just like it's a balance. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I would imagine something like Mokutai or something would be a good maybe jumping off point because it's somewhat close. I mean, I've heard it's a real pain in the ass to machine, but
yeah, I have some cool lines for the same thing, like all kinds of like Timascus and all kinds of weird alloys, but like. They also move and they do weird things and like it's So
yeah, it's a big investment
for sure. I want to play with them. They're cool looking. So yeah.
All right. Well, that brings us on to shop news and new things. Anything else new or exciting going on in your world?
Aside from playing with this mechanism, I don't think there's a crazy ton new. I'm building a new CAD PC because Windows 11 is upon us all, and my antiquated laptop is not going to cut the mustard for it. So yeah, I've kind of been geeking out about that. So that's my newest thing in here is it's going down that rabbit hole of building a PC.
Yeah, I know I keep getting the stupid Fusion notification of like, we're going to end support for this. And I'm like, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
I'll update it when I have to. Like, I don't want to if I don't have to.
How about you? What's new in your world? You're always on the other side of the question. I'm like, what's new in Dylan's world?
No. I mean, things are just slowly starting to get more stressful as the HS Flex gets closer to being shipped from Germany. So like it's lots of like planning tool holder purchases and laying purchases and planning my pallet risers and what all that looks like. And I've committed to putting no Fusion code in the new machine. So I'm really forcing myself into Hypermill. So that's been a big thing on my plate. But yeah, it's been really tough to balance all of the additional responsibilities that this new machine is bringing in addition to being very busy. Like we had like 3 or 4 days, not even 4 days, 3 days last week where it like looked like it was getting slow. And it was so funny because like had you asked us 2 weeks ago, like, could you use a few slow days? We've been like, oh yes, we really need it. Like we're so overloaded. We really need a breather. And then like day 2 of feeling a little bit slow, both Brad and I were like, all right, when's the work coming? Like I'm getting a little panicky about not having an overload of work again. It's such a catch-22, but yeah, we're getting through it. Like we had electricians out Friday last week. Yeah, Friday last week. And they started planning some stuff. Like they're going to have to move some circuits between breaker boxes because we have 3 breaker boxes in the shop. And so they're going to kind of move some stuff between them to load balance all 3 and start planning all that. I finally nailed down the shop floor plan as far as where all the machines were going. That was a little tough because like our shop is not super narrow, but narrow and long. And then running down all sides of it is an expansion joint. So it even makes the area you can put machines smaller. And then that center section is also broken up by, I think, 2 more expansion joints. And so like figuring out where I could put these very heavy machines so that the shop didn't feel crowded and I had access to everything, but I also liked it, was like a real Tetris game. Like I've been playing that for like a few months now, and then finally came up with what it is, and I was like, okay, sweet. And then like I cut out a cardboard cutout of our current C250 to kind of like put it where I think it's going to go and make sure I liked it. And I think we've got it nailed now. It's mostly nailed, at least. I'm sure that the riggers will get there. That's my next thing is like, I'm trying to figure out what riggers we're going to use and have them out early, like now, so that we can game plan. Because the building I'm in is like a great industrial building. Like the building itself is built very well for many suites of industrial stuff. But whatever moron built this place made the back side of the building so impossible to get to. Like you have to make a sharp 90 degree at either corner of it to get back here. So getting our current Hermla back here was like a little stressful for the riggers. Like they ended up coming around with a forklift prior to it and moving all of the dumpsters out of the way because they needed every little bit of room to be able to turn the right corner with their big truck. And they needed like the most heavy duty forklift, or not the most, but like a fairly heavy duty forklift. It was a nightmare. Like we ended up getting delayed an entire day because there was a car parked out back of our shop. And because of the grading on the pavement back there, they were like, we don't feel comfortable taking an 18,000 pound machine up sideways, up like diagonal. Like we need to come at it perfectly straight. So that car needs to leave. And it took a day to find the owner because he just like happened to be off site that day. I was like, geez, you got to be kidding me. Like, this is so ridiculous. So there's just a lot of moving pieces in this puzzle. Like, I'm going to have to probably start going around a week before the machines are supposed to arrive and like go, because there's this dumb cable company, like they install cable that's on the far side of the building where the entrance to the back is. And these assholes just like park diagonal off of the wall and basically almost block the entire roadway with their service trucks like all day. All day. So I'm gonna have to go there probably once a day for a week and it's like, hey, just so you know, next week, don't park there. Hey, you got 6 days now. We got 5 days now. Like, and I'm just gonna make sure that they understand, like, under no circumstances are any of your cars supposed to be back here on this day. Like, I'm only asking for 1 day. That's all I'm asking for.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's been the big thing lately. Nothing new, I guess, yet. It's just like a lot of planning. A lot of planning.
Yeah, except the giant flex coming in. Yeah.
I mean, that will be new. But like right now, it's just like as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't exist until it's here.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm planning for it. I'm spending lots of money in preparation for it. But like, I'm trying not to. I will geek out when it's here for sure. I'm very looking forward to it.
That melts my mind about like your world. Like, if I buy like a piece of equipment, I can like prep it. I know exactly what's going to go on it. Like, I know what's going to run. I know what parts are going to run. Whereas like in your case, like I'm sure you have some things queued up for it, but like you're still mostly doing like small run, like R&D kind of production, right?
100%. Yeah. Most of our orders are 5 pieces or less of anything.
That's madness to me that like you'll have this like very capable machine. I mean, like, okay, I don't exactly know what I'm running on it, but I'm going to run on it. Like it's so cool. That's cool. So stressful.
I have nothing to go on it right now because nothing that's in my queue right now will exist by the time that machine shows up. I might have like version 3 or version 4 of something I'm working on right now, but like,
sure,
nothing I'm working on now will be relevant at that point. But it's going to be awesome because like there's so many parts we run that are hour to 2 hour run times on the Hermler right now. And it's like, make 3 of them. It's like, okay, so I got to sit here for 15 hours or you know, whatever. It's like,
right.
Now I don't have to do that. Now I'll run one, make sure it's good, and then I'll go home. That sounds great.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely. And then like so many, that was the other weird thing is planning out standard tools for the new tool mag. It was like, I think the largest tool magazine I've ever run was at a past job and it was like 60 tools. It's like, now I've got 118. What do I even put in here? And then like I had to figure that list out to figure out what holders I needed to buy, to figure out what call-outs I needed to buy. And it was like, a lot of it was like, okay, I got 50, 60% of the way there and I'm going to guesstimate the other 40% and I'm probably going to be right. But like, fingers crossed, I guess we'll see.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, it's been nuts. It's like super stressful.
I bet. And like the analysis paralysis kind of dealio where it's just like, what do I like? What, like,
right.
Just so many options to pick from. Yeah.
Well, and like, I couldn't be paralyzed because so much of this stuff, like there's only a certain amount of stock that in the US and like all of the stuff that I buy is from Switzerland or Germany and has tariffs associated with it if they have to start importing a bunch of it. It's like, I need it now. I need to order it right now. So it was much more stressful than I ever anticipated. I never even thought when we were ordering the machine, I was like, this is super stressful. Like getting a loan for a piece of equipment that big, figuring all of that stuff out, gut checking, that was stressful. And then I was like, oh man, I've got to order, almost the tooling and work holding we were ordering for this machine is more expensive than our first Speedio was. And like that stress and that realization really was like, ooh, that's a gut that really like hit me in the gut, So
totally. Yeah.
Yeah. It's wild, man. It's absolutely wild.
That's cool. I'm so happy for you. That's awesome.
Hey.
I'm so happy you have like success and like looks like you're just like killing it. Like, unfortunately, I don't get to see much of your world. I get it. It's shrouded in secrecy, but it's it's so cool to see the glimpses or hear the glimpses on the podcast. So yeah, just
Thanks. Yeah. What I'm really, really hoping for is that the automation will allow me to schedule palettes and record video of stuff that I've had personal projects for a long time. And like that way I will be able to share a lot of this stuff. Cause like I've had so many things either half designed or fully designed and 3D printed, and I just don't have time to machine them. Like I have gotten back into watches, and I would love to make like a watch and throw a movement in it. And it's like right now there's no way in hell. But like I have a Seiko SKX that I bought and tore apart and then reverse engineered the whole case. And like I have a 3D model. I'm like, oh man, if I had time, I could for sure throw this on the machine. But I'm hoping that it's like, well, okay, I scheduled 5 pallets of customer parts and that's all I've got on the schedule. And I'll throw a pallet of a watch in there, or I'll throw a pallet of whatever this, homebrew project is in there. And it'll be done by tomorrow morning. And then I can, figure it out at the end of the day, the next day, like when I have time for my own stuff. Fingers crossed that is the case. And I can, throw a GoPro on a pallet that's my stuff.
Oh, that'd be cool. That seems like the perfect balance of like being able to play with these crazy machines. Like that's wild.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. We'll see. There's a lot to do, but I'm really excited. Yeah. I really appreciate it. Thanks.
Yeah. No doubt.
All right. Well, let's get to the last questions I ask every guest every week. First up, one cam metrology or business tip or trick that helped you this week, last week, sometime this month, maybe. What you got?
I say my favorite one is, I kind of keep coming back to it, is just like, I try to think of everything in like times, whatever works, but times 100, times 1,000, times 10, like depending on what for the situation. Like if I find for a specific part, I'm like, oh, I need to do this to, produce the finish I want. It's like, okay, what if I have to do 1,000 of those? It's like, okay, well now I have to completely rethink the process because I don't want to do like, like if you had to hand deburr a part, it's like, okay, doing one, no problem. Do you want to do 1,000 of those? It's like, not a chance. It's like, okay, we'll get better tooling, do this, do that. Like it just, to me, like if I carry that through everything, I always think of like, I'm going to do 1,000 of these. So like, it just makes things really clear. And that's the main kind of thing I've been focusing on for the last while.
I like that. That's a really good way to look at that problem. I really struggle keeping that kind of perspective because so much of my stuff is like, I just need to get through one. So like,
absolutely.
I mean, I've had parts, and I think if there is a statute of limitations on this, OSHA can't come after me. But I've had parts in the past where like you reach in the machine and hold on to them just to get that one last little finish pass without chatter. And then you're like, cool, I'm done. All right, let's pack it, ship it, get it out of here.
Yep.
So like it's definitely, I like that kind of thinking because it's so foreign to me very often, and it does lead me to better processes, even if it is just one part. So I do appreciate that.
Yeah, exactly. You're doing, you could set up a template or something, for a toolpath or something for a dumb task that you do all the time. Yeah, exactly. There's so many ways you can carry through, not just machining. You can carry through to a billion other things. But yeah, that's the one that keeps ringing true to me. So
I like that. No, that's great. What challenge are you facing, and where are you looking for help?
Aside from this little mechanism I've been building, that's probably my biggest challenge right now, is just trying to get that through. I don't know, other than like, I don't know what I'd be looking for help.
Well, let's talk real quick about that challenge. What is so challenging about that mechanism? Because you would look at it and you'd be like, it's just a few different fidget items that you stuck together. Like what makes it so difficult?
I think the thing that makes it difficult for me is I designed it with like a lot of stupid ideas, like for the best way to put it. Like it's just, I wanted it to work a certain way, and there'd be better ways to do it, but like I want it to work this way. So like there's parts that are just like, they're constrained in like multiple spots where it's like, okay, well this needs to be designed out. And I kind of was going down the path of like, if I can just tolerance this to like the nth degree, like make everything just stupid precise, it'll work. It's like, and that's not the way to build anything. Like build everything with some room to wiggle, some parts to shift, and you're going to have a lot better time. And that's kind of the one, just doing this mechanism. Like I kind of whinge about it on Instagram of it, how it's like, it just causes me stress. But at the same time, like I'm learning so much on this thing that I can carry across to a billion other things that it's like, if it never sees the light of day, if it ends up just going in the trash over the next few months, like that's okay. Like I'm learning enough from it for certain aspects of how to design more complicated things. And like, this is not complicated in like watch builder land, but like there's a lot of little intricate, tiny little titanium parts, and just it's been fun. I've really enjoyed it, but yeah, just getting better at learning how to design and learning to see where there's going to be problems. Like, yeah, don't.
What made you choose 3D printed caps?
Honestly, what I wanted to do is build a device that build something that is more affordable. Like my pens aren't heinously expensive, but like they're rather expensive, and I would love to be able to build a product that I could like give away a lot easier, or like produce in like this is mainly a mill part, even though it's round. It's like almost all the parts are mill, because like the mill sits idle so much. So I'm like, well, I could have a bunch of pallets set up for parts on this and just queue it up at night and go to bed and come here in the morning, and like it'll handle all my pen production. But it's not really the bottleneck for that right now. So I tried to design a product that would work on that. Yeah, sorry, the question was
3D printed caps.
So yeah, 3D
cost wise.
Cap, cost wise, yeah, basically, it's going to have. Eventually, I will do a full machine titanium one. It's so much more expensive when you factor in the machining time required and the actual material, and like, yeah. So just trying to make a cost effective, and it looks cool and it functions for what it needs to do. I think I can get by with just like some decent printing. And
okay,
yeah,
and those are SLA.
Yeah, essentially, it's just a resin. What is it? Like, is your commercial? Not commercial, sorry, like hobby grade.
Right, like an Elegoo or something.
Yeah,
okay.
Elegoo more. Yeah, it's a masked LCD, whatever they are, SLS, SLA. I don't know. I forget the exact terminology, but
okay.
I mean, if it takes off in itself, I'll gladly buy like a Form 1, because those are super cool printers. But like,
right. How do you find machining that resin to be? Does it machine okay?
Yeah, I specifically bought this, like it's machinable resin. It's a biocompatible resin. It's like, it's super annoying to print with, crazy annoying to dial in. It machines okay. It's kind of like machining acrylic. So if you have crazy sharp tools and you just kind of watch how you're approaching things, the machine's okay. It leaves a nice finish. So
who makes the resin? Is it Soriatec or something?
Yeah, that one's okay. Soriatec Blue Series. So they make some good stuff. I like it.
They have such a interesting lineup, because like they've got like partnerships with, was it DuPont or 3M or something too, for like crazy high strength stuff. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that whole area is just, it's insane what's available nowadays.
Oh yeah, the chemistry that goes into all that stuff is wild. Really, crazy. Yeah. Work-life balance. What does it mean to you, and how do you manage it? Is it any different from 5 or 10 years ago?
From 5 years ago, for sure. Like I was spending every waking hour trying to push this outside of my day job, but now it's like, I hate to use the term like lifestyle business, because it sounds like that's like the influencers kind of ruined that. But like, I want to build a business, a job here where I can take time out. And like, I have 2 young girls. Like if I want to go on a field trip with them, like it's something I want to be able to do. Mm-hmm. So yeah, my work-life balance is significantly better. Like I typically try to work a 10-ish hour day. Don't typically work on weekends. Like I'll work in the evenings, usually when everyone's in bed, or like right now when me and you were chatting, like everyone's taken care of. But yeah, I try to like, I don't know, if I can make enough, money to justify a comfortable life, and then still be able to spend it, doing the things that are truly important. Like we're not all here for a very long time. So I just try to remember that, like, right. Little people, you have a brand new little one in the world. Like they're only little for so long. You don't have a lot of time.
Oh yeah. Yeah. They say there's that like horrible statistic that it's like, by the time your kid turns 18, you've spent 95% of the time you're going to spend with them for the rest of your life. And it's like, oh, seriously? Like, don't say that.
I know. Or like 18 summers, or like 18 more Christmases. And you're like, oh, like that's horrible. But like, it's good. Like it's good to remember that, because like, you're not going to remember the time where you cranked out those great parts and made a customer happy. Like you'll remember, like if you're, could see your daughter blank or whatever. Right. Like it's,
exactly.
Yeah, it's huge. So I try to think more about that.
That's awesome. I really like that. Yeah. All right. Second to last, what is a thing that you've bought that you probably shouldn't, doesn't really pencil out, but that you wouldn't be without?
Well, I would normally I would have said my laser cutter, like I bought that way back in the day, and CO2 lid. But now I use it so much for packaging, like it's indispensable. Like if it blows up, I will buy another one tomorrow without even like I'll buy a big fancy one because I use it so much. So that thing doesn't work anymore. But the current one is the CAD computer. I went a little crazy on it. Like I put stuff in there that I will not need for just the day-to-day use, but like
yeah, well, I mean, I gave you shit for the graphics card. I was like, you're not just doing CAD. I know what Fusion needs. It's not that.
yeah. So that hasn't quite penciled out, but hey, like I try to like, make my PCs last forever, so I kind of overspend. But hey, it's gonna hopefully last me a little bit longer than just like a couple of years.
Yeah, well, I think you'll be all right for quite some time with that thing. That's a beast. That's super cool.
Fun.
I know I didn't go quite as crazy, but when I built the stuff for the license server computer and the one in inspection for the microscope, those are fairly overbuilt for what they are as well. Like I could have put it on a Celeron processor with like no RAM, and like it would have been okay. And instead I was like, well, what if I want to use it for something else? Like, what if I need a spare computer for something? I'll just build like a decent one. Like, I might as well. So I understand the need, especially when you're looking at computer parts and there's a horrible stair stepping where like nothing is too far from anything else. So you're like, well, like I can get like a Ryzen 5. And you're like, well, I can get a Ryzen 7. I'm like, oh, but it's only like $100 more to like a Ryzen 9. Well, I mean, I might as well get that. But then I need a little bit better of a motherboard. Well, and I might as well get like, 32 or 64 gigs at least because like it's cheap. Like, oh, they're running a deal on it. Like, okay, cool. Yeah. It's terrible.
Smart. Yeah, I know. Death by 1,000 little cuts. Yeah, exactly. That's how I ended up where I ended up. I was like, I don't need any of this, but like it's $100 more. What does it matter? And like, yeah.
Yep. Oh man. Awesome. Well, last question then. What have you been researching this week? Doesn't matter if it's machining related, but it's always interesting to hear what interesting people are looking into.
I appreciate it. I've been looking into super boring things is shipping. We're having another Canadian postal strike just today. They announced that they're probably doing another walkout, which kind of impacts me. And then with all this tariff stuff, I've also been looking at alternate carriers. So I've been messing with that. CUSMA, like the Canadian United States Mexico agreement, whatever, NAFTA essentially,
right?
So that my products can be tariff exempt. So I've sent a few through with the correct documentation, and it seems to work. But I don't know if there's going to be holes blown in that in the next short while. So yeah, just a bunch of very boring shipping and stuff. But how about you? What have you been searching?
Oh man, I'd have to check. I mean, like I said, a lot of it has just been tool holders, work holding. That's been a large part of it. Boring heads I was looking into. Not that I really need another one, but I do want a digital one eventually. Mm-hmm. It's frustrating to me because the one I want doesn't exist. But like Rigibor is the company that I love and I would love to buy one from, but they only make, if you want like a range, they only make 3 boring bars ish that have very small ranges, and they don't cover all of the range that I need that like these larger digital kits do. But the Rigibors, they're so cool. Like that you buy, at least they're smart bore ones. Like you can either get a custom integral tool holder one for a specific size, like if you have a production part, or you can buy their like adjustable ones. But you buy this like digital screwdriver from them with a screen, and you plug it in to the boring head, and it energizes the sensor in there, and then it's built in with the Torx bit into the screwdriver. And so as you energize it, it hits the Torx, and then you can adjust it in 50 millionths on the diameter per little click. And it's not a worm drive, it's a direct drive. So there's no backlash and there's no screwing around. Like 50 millionths is 50 millionths on the diameter. Yeah, and it's just insane. Absolutely insane. And I would love like a full kit, but they don't offer it. And I need to bug them about it and be like, can you? Like, can you just make a boring head that I can attach all the normal, things to?
Right.
Because they're not like crazy expensive. I think we bought custom ones at my last job, and they were maybe $2,000 per custom boring head.
Yeah.
So like, I wouldn't imagine that one of their kits would be all that much more expensive, but
for that adjustability, like that's a nuts measurement. Like if you think about that that's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, it's so cool. And like, I'll have to see if I can find it. If I can find it, I'll put it in the show notes, but they have a really cool video either on their website or on their YouTube channel where they show off their custom integration with SolidWorks for their custom heads, where like they can go in and just like type in the parameters of like, hey, it's this diameter and this deep, and SolidWorks, and like this taper, and it auto generates the boring head, auto generates all of the features needed for their like SmartBore cartridge, automatically programs their mill turn to like create that from the holder blank, and it's all done automatically. It's a really, really, I'll see if I find it, I'll put it in the show notes. I found them when we started having issues with big Kaiser, now big Daishowa heads, because we found out that there's like a locking screw on the big Daishowa ones, and they are flat spotted. How did it go? They are flat spotted in the factory. Like the little ball tip on the set screw is flat spotted so that it doesn't dimple the brass sleeve that's on the worm drive. But if you take them apart to clean them, and especially if your tooling crib guy doesn't pay super good attention when he's putting them back together, and it's really hard to put them back together with the flat against that,
right? You
start dimpling the brass sleeve, and so then the boring head starts jumping a few tenths. Right. So you'll like dimple it, and then you go to adjust 2 tenths, and then the circular part of the screw that's now exposed just rides back into its own dimple and moves 2 tenths. And we were starting to scrap all these parts, and we were like, what is going on? And like big Daishowa came out, and they couldn't figure it out. And finally, like, I can't remember if our tooling guy figured it out upon taking it apart again or what, but I was tasked. They were like, we need to find something else. Like, this is just not working. And I stumbled across Rigibore, and like, they worked so good. The only thing that was a pain in the ass about them is that the Torx, you really had to push on it to like engage it, because it had like the entire pogo pin stack behind it to energize it. And so there was a few guys who wouldn't do that, and they would start stripping the Torx. It wasn't even the cartridge that would strip. It was the actual Torx bit built into the digital screwdriver that would start stripping and like rounding off.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So as long as you paid attention, it was totally fine. But if you were like kind of lazy with your adjustments, it would definitely start stripping. So, yeah. Anyway, long story long, I would love one of those, and I would love a full kit. So Rigibore, get on it, please. All right, Curt. Well, please let everyone know where they can find you online, all that good stuff.
Yeah. Confoundedmachine.com is probably the best way. There's a little box on my contact page. You can put your email in there. I send out an email whenever I like launching products or whatever you just want to keep track. Because I think both lotteries are closed. Unfortunately, that's kind of the only way you can keep up with me. And same thing everywhere else, Confounded Machine on Instagram. And then on YouTube, I think it's actually under Curt van Filipowski. But I'm sure if you search Confounded Machine, I'll pop up there too. So yeah.
How often are you making YouTube videos nowadays?
Oh, I think I built one like 6 months ago. It's a rarity now. I'd love to go back to it. I love making video, and I typically shoot video for myself. I love documenting that kind of stuff. But yeah, I haven't edited together something in a while, and just kind of makes
You're
me
busy.
feel bad.
It's not a bad thing.
Yeah, it is. It's fun to do though. It's fun to do. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It has been great to get to catch up and get to know you more.
Oh, I appreciate the invite so much. It was lovely talking. So thanks for bringing me on.
Thanks to new Patreon members, James, Julian, D, Eric, Howie, and D. You guys make this show possible. And thank you all for listening. I will be back next week.